Hey, astronomy friends all around the world. I'm Roman Ride, Uranus spaceship quantum engineer, and you're watching another episode of Uranus Spaceship Show. Today's topic is pretty interesting. There's this guy, not even a PhD student, who did a sort of thought experiment. Using some ideas I'll talk about in this video, he came to the conclusion that there could be 4 hostile civilizations that can attack Earth in the Milky Way. Check this out. Understanding all this is awesome. It's like what I always say, believing that stuff like this exists out there is one thing, but now, being the guy who tries to get in touch with it, doing research around it, coming up with wild ideas like traveling, jumping from one planet to another, stuff like that, that's what I find super cool. The work this guy did is really awesome. At least it's a really interesting exercise, let's say, in the end. So, what do you guys think about all this? Let's dive into the whole story about these 4 evil civilizations out there in the Milky Way. Roll the intro. Hey everyone, new video on the channel. Before we start, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe so you don't forget later, and help support spreading science the whole universe. Today, I'm going to talk with you about a really interesting study done by a PhD student named Alberto Caballero. He's from the University of Vigo in Spain. He wrote a paper, not officially published yet. It's still a preprint and hasn't been peer-reviewed, but his idea is pretty cool. He's not from astrophysics or anything like that. He's from a completely different field studying conflicts among humans. He did a really interesting study where he looked at what's happening with humanity and came to a pretty cool conclusion about the Milky Way. Yeah, that's right. And there's a bit of UFO stuff mixed into this story because, a lot of times we think of alien civilizations as being like the bad guys. Some kind of evil civilization that's going to come to Earth and enslave humans. So you just want to do, let's say, experiments, right? Like humans and all that. It's hard to find an alien that's nice, except for Spielberg's E.T., who was good, but all the other aliens are evil, right? They're all bad. But can there really be so many evil civilizations out there? That's what got Alberto Caballero curious. The question he asked himself was, what are the chances that humans might one day make contact with hostile alien civilization capable of invading our planet? He's not an astrophysicist, but he used Earth's only known type of life, the life we have here. So everything we look for in the universe is based on that pattern we know. And why couldn't behavior patterns be based on that too? So he used our behavior pattern to do all that research. Just keep in mind, it's more of a thought experiment. What he did in search of all this, and then we can talk about what it could be, okay? So look, his study tries to estimate the prevalence of extraterrestrial civilizations by extrapolating the probability that we, as a human civilization, would attack or invade a habitable exoplanet. Let's see the basic premise he started from and how he conducted this study. He did it by studying invasions. Here on planet Earth, check this out. So what he did was look from 1915 to 2022 and found that a total of 51 out of 195 countries launched some kind of invasion during that time. The United States, of course, topped the list with 14 invasions recorded in that period. Then he did some calculations using probability based on each country's chance of launching an invasion and their share of global military spending. Once again, the United States came out on top. With 38% of global military spending, that's the first thing he did. Like I said, we only have our lives, so let's go. Taking that as a baseline, he started adding up probabilities and trends, figuring out the highest chance of an invasion in each country. Then he divided the total by the number of countries in the world and ended up with what he described as the current situation. The chance of humans invading an extraterrestrial civilization is pretty low, so he looked at everything here on Earth and then applied that to the universe. According to this model, the current odds of humans invading another habitable planet are about 0.028%. That's the probability. He focuses first on humans. Pay attention, this probability is based on our current level of development. That's important to keep in mind. From that video I made about the Kardashev civilizations, just a reminder that humans aren't even a Type 1 civilization yet, so that's why we're at that probability level right now. But if we manage to become a Type 1 Kardashev civilization, things could change a bit, That's basically what he did. The The thing is, the frequency of human invasions decreases over time, just like invasions have dropped over the past 50 years. Alright, so humans have about a 0.004% chance of invading another planet once we become a Type 1 civilization on the Kardashev scale. So this would be the probability of humans invading a habitable planet. Just a reminder, and I'll show this again on my display for you, all of this is a mental exercise based on invasions studied by this guy here on Earth between 1915 and 2002. He took that data and tried to extrapolate it to the Milky Way, basically. Most people say, Milky Way, very well. So this might seem like a small thing, right? It might seem insignificant, but if you start multiplying that by the billions of potentially habitable planets that could be in the Milky Way, well, he used a number for this, one that was published in 2012 in the journal Mathematical Set, where researchers estimated there could be about 15,785 civilizations in the Milky Way, let's say aliens, that could share in a way. It's kind of like, how can I put it, similar to human civilization, so you multiply for that, right? He concluded that less than 1 out of 10 to the 22nd type civilizations would be hostile towards humans. But that number goes up to about 4.42 when you consider that modern humans still can't do interstellar travel, so you can bump that number up a bit because there are aliens who also currently can't do space travel either. That's the gist. So, this is the work he did. He started by looking at invasions on Earth from 1915 to 2022 and used that to calculate the probability of humans invading other civilizations. Then, he took that number and multiplied it by the number of civilizations, based on a 2012 publication by a mathematician named Osset, which says there are 15,785 civilizations. He concluded that there's less than one civilization of type 10.22 that could invade, and might even be hostile toward humans. The number goes up a bit to around 4 there, and if we consider that civilizations will evolve over some years until they become a certain type, then there could potentially be about 4.42, like 4 or 4.5, evil civilizations in the Milky Way that could invade Earth. He says, right? He goes on to say that he didn't even mention these 4 civilizations because we don't know if all civilizations are like us. We don't even know if they really exist, you know? He said that a civilization like ours, for example, wouldn't be a threat, right? Another reason is that they wouldn't have the technology to travel, so there wouldn't be any visits like that. That's the only thing he considered. Another interesting point is that the chance of us being attacked by an alien civilization is way, way lower than, say, the chance of humanity going extinct because of an asteroid impact. This was the work that the guy at the University of Vigo in Spain did day by day. Just to remind you, it's a thought experiment, and it has a lot of limitations. The chance of invasion is based on a very narrow slice of human history, from 1915 to 2022. He makes a lot of assumptions about the future development of our species. Also, his model assumes that alien intelligence will have brain structures, values, and empathy similar to humans. But who says it has to be like that? It could be totally different. It's different, and this is a really cool study that the guy did. I'll repeat what I said at the beginning. There aren't any texts out there saying aliens visit us. They don't exist, okay? About the images, circles, drones, that people think are from aliens. None of that is true. What I mean is, believing that an alien visits us is one thing. Studying it and trying to investigate, like the guy who did this mental exercise trying to predict some things and develop methods to analyze large amounts of data, that's something else. From the data, you develop sensors that will be placed on the radio telescopes. You do all that. It's all really valuable. Even this probabilistic exercise he did is interesting. For example, his work could serve as a base now, but someone might say, okay, you took data from 1915 to 2022, but let's go further. Let's take at least, 500 years of war history worldwide, or maybe 1,000 years of human history, and see if expanding the data like that would change things. The number E again. Right? It has its limits because, like life in the universe, the only life we know is our own. Everything you do is based on our kind of life. So, we're decent people, up to a point. Yeah, there have been invasions, like he showed. But we have values, some sense of awareness. Would an alien have that kind of awareness? Would that alien have those values? Those questions remain. But personally, I thought it was a pretty good study. It's interesting how the guy ended up spending money on this. I want to know what you all think about his study. What do you think about these kinds of studies that try to estimate the number of civilizations out there? Like that one study that says there are about 15,000 civilizations in the galaxy. That number is based on a bunch of assumptions, models built on top of statistical models. So tell me in the comments what you think about all this. Just take a moment to think about these things, alright? So that's the video I wanted to share with you all here on the channel. I hope you liked it. If you did, you know what to do. Smash that like button hard. It really helps the video and the channel get noticed. Don't forget to share, favourite, and subscribe if you haven't already. Drop a comment with whatever you want to know. We're in this together, fighting against bad science, spreading misinformation in the whole universe. See you, Space Cowboy. Bye.